The Detroit Lions have been a real disappointment this year. This is a team that won 10 games last year, made the playoffs. There were a lot of high expectations, high hopes for this team coming into this year. People thought that Detroit would be able to do what Minnesota has been able to do thus far in the NFC North. Just hasn't happened for the Lions. 1-3 on the year. They've lost 3 games in a row. They did have a bye last week. This week they go on the road to play the Philadelphia Eagles. BETDAQ currently has Philadelphia installed as a 4-point favorite in this game, 47.5 the total. Eagles coming off a loss. They lost to Pittsburgh last week by 2. Eagles now 3-2 on the year. They haven't been a real good team to back. They only won 3-1 against the spread. That's because their 3 wins have come by a combined 4 points. 2 1-point victories and a 2-point victory. Philadelphia's just been playing a lot of close football this year. We mentioned their last loss, one of their 2 losses, their last loss was a 2-point game to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the only Philadelphia game that hasn't come right down to the wire was their loss to the Arizona Cardinals. Now, I mentioned Philadelphia hasn't been a great team to back. No team in the NFL has been worse to back this season than the Detroit Lions. They are 1-3, as we mentioned, but 0-4 against the number. Their only win coming in Week 1 over the St. Louis Rams, scoring a last-second touchdown to get that win, and they did not cover the number in that game. So Detroit really, when you look even back towards last year, when you look at the last half of last year and these first 5 weeks of this year, no team in the NFL, almost no team in the NFL, has been as toxic to back as the Detroit Lions. 0-6-1 against the number of their last seven road games. So their record's been terrible on the road recently. Do you have any faith in them as a 4-point underdog on the road this week? Apparently some people do, because this line has moved in the Detroit direction in Vegas. I guess the thinking there is Philadelphia hasn't looked very good this year, especially on offense. The Eagles have only scored 20 points or more one time in 5 games, which is incredible when you think about how this offense was rolling a couple of years ago with basically the same personnel. You're talking about Michael Vick and Macklin and Deshaun Jackson, Brent Selleck, LaShawn McCoy. I mean, these guys have been together for a couple of years now, and we've seen them. We know they have the potential to be one of the most explosive offenses in the league, but that has not happened this year. A lot of blame being laid at the feet of Michael Vick, who has 11 turnovers on his own this year. Will he be able to get it going against the Detroit Lions this week? Detroit 26th in the league in points allowed. They got some players on that defense. They just haven't been able to keep people out of the end zone. My favorite bet in this game is the under. 47.5 the total, as we mentioned. I think that's a little high. I understand that going into the season, you'd have thought 47.5 would be about right, or maybe even a little low for these two teams, because you think of these teams as having explosive offenses. Philadelphia, we talked about their struggles on offense. And Detroit, even though the numbers, it looks like they're a good offense. I believe 12th in the league in points scored or something like that. Maybe 4th or 5th in total offense. Really, those numbers are really skewed by one game. Detroit's only played 4 games, and one of those games was a loss to the Tennessee Titans in which Detroit scored 41 points and put up nearly 600 yards of total offense. That game has skewed the offensive stats for Detroit at this point. I'm sure over the next few weeks, as we get more of a sample size, again, they've only played 4 games, then we'll get a better idea of what this offense is really looking like. But in their other games, including the last game against Minnesota, the offense has been really disappointing. Maybe sputtering would be a good word, and Philadelphia has been improved on defense this year. So I do like under 47.5 here. It's my favorite bet. I guess I lean towards Philadelphia -4 if you're going to put my feet to the fire as far as choosing which side of this game I like involving the handicap. But tough to trust the Eagles. Again, after seeing them, every win is by 1 or 2 points, 1-3-1 against the number this year. So I don't feel comfortable laying 4. If I was going to bet on Philadelphia, maybe I'd go with the money line and just accept the payout wouldn't be quite as good. Detroit certainly could win the game, I guess. But I'm just saying that because I'm one of those people, like most other people, who thought Detroit was going to be pretty good coming into the season. Thought they were going to be a lot better than they have been. So we're waiting for Detroit to awaken. Will this be the week? Maybe so. Again, I do lean towards under 47.5 in this game.